Dear students, welcome you all for the e-lecture. In this session, let us make an attempt to study the topic entitled Soils for Mulberry. Introduction. Soil is the fine earth covering land surface that has an important function of serving as a substratum for plant, animal and human life and acts as a reservoir of nutrients and water. Soil is the upper weathered layer of the earth's crust. It is a dynamic entity which is always undergoing physical, chemical and biological changes. Soil is the general name given to the loose and unconsolidated outer layer of the earth's crust, that is crumbly and powdery in nature. It is made up of small particles of different size. While the farmer uses the term soil to the cultivated top layer only, that is up to 15 to 18 centimeter of the flow depth. Soil is made up of substances existing in three states, namely solid, liquid and gaseous. For healthy plant growth, proper balance of all three states of matter is necessary. Soil is considered as a dynamic natural body composed of mineral and organic materials and living forms in which plants grow. In other words, soil is the collection of natural bodies occupying parts of the earth's surface that support plants and that have properties due to the integrated effect of climate and biological activities upon parent materials as conditioned by relief over a period of time. The role of soils in crop production has been appreciated since time immemorial. Modification of soil for crop production alters the natural state of upper 10 to 20 centimeter. This manipulated part of the soil is referred to as surface soil or topsoil, which is the major zone of root development for crop production. The soil which is not seen from the surface and not commonly distributed by tillage is the subsoil. It influences root penetration besides serving as a reservoir for moisture and nutrients for crop production. Soils with relatively low organic matter content ranging from 1 to 6% in surface layers are usually called as mineral or inorganic soils, and whose properties are dominated by organic matter are termed as organic soils. The organic matter content of organic soils is usually more than 50% by volume, that is 20% by weight. Typical examples of organic soils are swamps, bogs, peat or marshes. The farmers always look upon the soil as a habitat for plants, as it provides physical anchorage to crops besides as reservoir of nutrients and water needed for growth and development. From the dawn of civilization, farmers recognize good soils, being attracted to productive soils of river valleys. In appraising the productivity of soils, one needs to have a thorough knowledge of their physical, chemical and biological properties to prevent irreparable damage done to the land and water resources. Prediction of crop input requirements and relative responses to the input application requires knowledge of soil properties and their relationship to application of crop production technology. The soil properties can be studied under physical, chemical and biological environments. Soil physical environment. Soil physical environment greatly influence its use and behavior towards plant growth. The support, root temperature, root penetration, aeration, retention of moisture and plant nutrients are linked with the physical conditions of the soil. Physical properties also influence the chemical and biological behavior of soils. The soil physical environment depends on the amount, size, shape, arrangement and mineral composition of its particles along with organic matter content and pore space. The soil physical environment and their influence on fertility of soil, plant growth and productivity are detailed below. Role of texture. Texture has good effect on management and productivity of soil. Sandy soils are of open character, usually loose and friable. Such type of the texture is easy to handle in tillage operations. Sand facilitates drainage and aeration. It allows rapid evaporation and percolation. Sandy soils have very little water holding capacity. Such soils cannot withstand drought and are unsuitable for dry farming. Clay particles play a very important role in soil fertility. Clay soils are difficult to till and require much skill in handling. When moist clay soil is exceedingly sticky and when dry become hard and difficult to break. They have very fine pores and are poor in drainage and aeration. They have a high water holding capacity and poor percolation, which usually results in water logging. They are generally very fertile soils in respect of plant nutrients. Silt is a very valuable constituent of the soil. Good loamy soils contain about 30 to 50% silt. An ideal loam may be defined as a mixture of sand, silt and clay particles which exhibits light and heavy properties in about equal proportions. In drainage, absorption of water and water holding capacity are intermediate between sandy soils and clay soils. Tillage operations are best adapted to this class of soil. In loam soil, good tilth is obtained easily. Role of structure. Soil structure influences the amount and nature of porosity. Structure controls the amount of water and air present in the soil. The amount of water and air not only depends on soil structure, but also controls their movement and circulation, besides affecting tillage practices and controls runoff and erosion. Platy structure normally hinders free drainage, whereas spear-like structure helps in drainage. The best structure for favorable physical properties of soils is crumbly, aeration and drainage, in which activities of soil microorganisms and supply of nutrients are good. Role of soil density. Bulk density varies with the total pore space present in the soil and gives a good estimate of the porosity of soil. Generally, soils with low bulk densities have favorable physical conditions, whereas those with high densities exhibit poor physical conditions. Soils with a loose structure have a lower bulk density than having compact structure. Role of porosity. Porosity of the soil greatly helps to judge the moisture movement within the soil. Macropores readily allows movement of air and water, and it does not hold water under normal condition. In contrast, micropores can hold more water and restrict the movement of air and water in soil. Fine textured, that is clay soils, allow relatively slow air and water movement despite the large amount of total pore space, that is total porosity. Therefore, size of the individual pore space has been considered important rather than their combined volume. The loosening of fine textured soils promotes aeration not so much by increasing the total pore space as by rising the proportion of the macropores, and porosity of a soil is easily changed. Any operation that reduces aggregation decreases pore space and the amount of organic matter in the soil. Role of soil consistence. Consistence of soil depends on the texture, structure, moisture, nature and amount of inorganic and organic colloids. With a decreasing moisture content, the soils lose their stickiness and plasticity and become friable, soft, and finally when dry become hard and coherent. Optimum soil consistency increases with the water holding capacity and plant food material and thus increases the fertility of soil. Role of soil color. Soil color is indirectly related with soil fertility. Relation of soil color with the temperature. Soil color directly influences soil temperature to some extent. The dark colored soils absorb more heat than light colored soils. Relation of soil color with organic matter. Organic matter imparts black to dark grey tinge. Organic matter content improves the soil structure. Relation of soil color with drainage. Bluish and greenish colors of soil indicate waterlogging. Drainage requirement can be determined by the color variation in the soil. Relation of soil color with parent material. Soil color may indicate their origin from parent rock material. Role of soil temperature. Effect of soil temperature on soil microorganisms. Certain amount of heat is necessary for the proper functioning of microorganisms in the soil. Soil temperature controls the rate of microbiological process involved in mineralization of nitrogen, composition of organic matter, nitrogen fixation, etc. Microbiological activity is lowest when soil temperature is below 5 degrees centigrade and above 54 degrees centigrade. Optimum temperature for microbiological activity is between 25 to 35 degrees centigrade. Organic matter decomposition depends on microbial process and activity of microorganisms are related with temperature. Higher the temperature, the more rapid is the decomposition. Very high and very low temperature affects the absorption of soil water by the roots of plant. Soil temperature influences the various chemical reactions that take place in the soil. The solubility of nutrients and their availability are considerably influenced by soil temperature. Soil temperature indirectly influences soil structure. Let us study soil chemical environment. Soil chemical environment is dynamic and reactions that maintain dilute solution of nutrient elements are indispensable for continual plant growth. The nutrient transformation and its availability in soils depend on pH, clay minerals and cation and anion exchange capacities. Soil pH. pH is defined as the negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration. The pH of a soil indicates its acidity or alkalinity. pH influences nutrient availability, soil physical condition and plant growth. Clay minerals. A mineral is a naturally occurring inorganic substance with a definite chemical composition and distinct physical characters. A mineral that forms the original component of a rock is known as primary mineral. It is generally anhydrous, that is without water molecule in its composition, and is originally formed by cooling and solidification of molten mass. Feldspar, hornblende, mica, etc. are some of the primary minerals. A mineral that has been formed as a result of subsequent changes in rocks is known as a secondary mineral. It is hydrous and is formed due to weathering or metamorphosis of primary mineral. Some of the secondary minerals are kaolinite, montmorillonite, illite, limonite, gibbsite, dolomite, calcite, apatite, gypsum and pyrites. Hydrated aluminosilicate secondary minerals with particle size less than 0.002 millimeter in diameter are clay minerals. The clay minerals together with organic matter constitute the colloidal fraction of the soil, which is the active seat of physical and chemical properties of soil. Colloids are particles of size less than 0.0002 millimeter in diameter. The individual particle of a colloid is called micelle. Most of the clay minerals that are less than 0.0002 millimeter in diameter and also humus exhibit colloidal properties. Soil colloids are of two types, namely inorganic and organic colloids. The inorganic colloids may be either silicate or non-silicate clay minerals, while humus is an organic colloid. Cation exchange capacity, that is CEC. CEC is a very important property of the soil from plant nutrition point of view. Colloids or micelles have large surface area per unit weight. Most clay micelles have a crystalline structure, while humus micelles are amorphous. These micelles are due to isomorphic substitution, ionization of hydroxyl groups and exposed carboxyl and hydroxyl groups. Isomorphic substitution of silica or alumina atom by an atom of similar geometry, but of low charge results in higher negative charge. Silica hydroxides on ionization get extra negative charge. Anion exchange capacity, that is AEC. AEC is less in magnitude compared to CEC. The sites for anions for exchange to and from soil solution and also from soil constitutes are present at the amine groups in humus and at the edge of a silicate clay mineral when the bonding between clay mineral and cation terminates. In addition, release of hydroxyl from iron and aluminum causes positive charges on clay minerals. Similar to exchange of cation from clay mineral and soil solution, anions are also exchanged. Soil biological environment. The soil biological environment is composed of several organisms belonging to both plant, that is flora, and animal, that is fauna kingdoms. Because of their number and activity, several changes take place which are generally helpful to the plants, while a few of them are harmful. The activity and number of soil organisms can be modified by management practices so as to provide suitable environment for plant growth. In soil flora and fauna, microscopic and highly developed organisms exist and are called micro and macroorganisms respectively. The macroflora and soil consists of roots of higher plants, while bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes and algae constitute the soil microflora. Protozoa and nematodes are the important soil microfauna, and earthworms, moles, ants, etc. are the macrofauna. Roots of higher plants. Space around the root surface of higher plants is called rhizosphere. Rhizosphere provides a special environment for rapid proliferation of microorganisms due to exudation of energy-rich compounds. Bacteria mostly colonize on the rhizosphere compared to the rest of the soil. About 7 billion bacteria are present in a gram of rhizosphere soil compared to 25 million in non-rhizosphere soil. Microflora. Based on the oxygen requirements, microbes are divided into three groups: aerobes, which survive and multiply under sufficient level of free oxygen; anaerobes, which survive without free oxygen but obtain from other compounds; and facultative microbes, which grow better with sufficient level of oxygen but can adapt even to a very low level of oxygen. Based on the temperature requirement, microorganisms are grouped into psychrophiles, that is less than 1 degree centigrade, mesophiles 20 to 40 degree centigrade, and thermophiles, that is more than 40 degree centigrade. Autotrophs can fix carbon dioxide, whereas heterotrophs depend on organic matter for their carbon. Population and activity of microflora depend on soil physical and chemical environments. Soil moisture is the most important factor in deciding the type of microorganisms present in the soil. When soil moisture is near or below field capacity, aerobic bacteria flourish. When the soil is saturated or submerged, only anaerobic bacteria exist. Actinomycetes die under anaerobic conditions. The optimum moisture for aerobic bacteria is 50 to 75% water holding capacity, while actinomycetes predominate in dry regions. Most microflora of the soil is mesophiles and grows well at 15 to 45 degrees centigrade, with optimum being 37 degrees centigrade. Higher carbon dioxide concentration is toxic to microbes. Direct sunlight is injurious to most microflora. Optimum pH differs with the type of microflora. Bacteria grow well with a pH range of 6.5 to 8.0. Fungi prefer acidic range, that is 4.5 to 6.5 pH, while actinomycetes prefer slightly alkaline condition. Heterotrophic microflora requires organic matter for their carbon form and they proliferate when soil organic matter is high. Soil fauna. The macrofauna consists of earthworms, moles, ants, etc. These organisms consume plant residues and help in decomposition of organic matter. Protozoa and nematodes constitute the microfauna. Protozoa feed on bacteria and actinomycetes. Some nematodes are parasitic on crop plants and some live on organic matter. Soils for mulberry production. Soils for mulberry have to maintain the mulberry plants for sustained and maximum productivity of quality leaves. The soil has to supply or provide the essential major and micro plant nutrients, oxygen for root respiration, mechanical support or anchorage, storehouse of water. As mulberry is a deep-rooted perennial, long-standing, hardy and monoculture crop, the soil should be capable of supplying sufficient air, water and nutrients, even in the deeper layers where the root system penetrates. The soil quality has an influence not only on the yield of mulberry leaves, but also on their quality, which in turn influences not only the growth of silkworm, but also the quantity and quality of cocoons produced by them. The soil should be deep, fertile, well drained and clay loam to loam in texture, friable, porous with good moisture holding capacity. Slightly acidic, that is 6.2 to 6.8 pH. Soils which are free from injurious salts are ideal for good growth of mulberry. Saline and alkaline soils are not preferred. For good growth of mulberry, the saline and alkaline soils can be improved. Mulberry is cultivated on a variety of soils in the major sericultural countries of the world. In India also, mulberry is also grown on a varied types of soils. In West Bengal and Jammu and Kashmir, mulberry is grown in alluvial soils. These soils are generally grey, light brown to brown in color, sandy loam to loam in texture, slightly alkaline to neutral in reaction and non-calcareous. They are generally deficient in nitrogen, humus and occasionally in phosphorus. In Karnataka, the mulberry soils are predominantly red loam, derived from granites and gneisses. The main characteristics of red sandy loam is shallow to medium in depth, well drained with gravelly substratum, bright red to pale brown in color, poor in water holding capacity and bases, sandy to sandy loam in texture, alkaline to neutral in reaction and the organic matter content is low. Most of the soils are deficient in available phosphorus and contain variable amounts of potassium. In some parts of India, mulberry is cultivated in block soils and these block soils are comparable to Chernozems of temperate zone and differ from them in poor organic matter and humus contents. They are shallow to medium, clayey in texture with lime nodules. Underlying with porous or rocky substratum, rich in bases, alkaline, low in organic content and high in water holding capacity. Mulberry grows best in a flat and fertile land. In places where there is a great demand for land for cultivation of agriculture and horticultural crops, mulberry can be grown even in marginal and slopy lands, where other crops cannot be grown profitably. Mulberry plantation can be established in gentle as well as steep slopes. If the slope is below 15%, mulberry plantation can be established in row along with the contour, whereas in steeper slopes, that is 15 to 30%, terraces are built. In order to achieve nutritious and healthy mulberry crop, soil testing on all aspects of physical, chemical and biological properties need priority attention. While knowing the status of available nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, it is also essential to evaluate the soils for adverse conditions such as acidity, alkalinity and also their reclamation or amelioration aspects. Saline and alkaline soils and also highly acidic soils should be avoided. In case this is not possible, the saline and alkaline soils should be improved by the application of gypsum or sulfur or by green manuring. Horse gram and cowpea are recommended as suitable green manures. The quantity of gypsum required per hectare of such soil is to be estimated on the pH level and the sodium salts present. Together with the application of gypsum, incorporation of heavy doses of compost or farmyard manure with the provision of adequate drainage is necessary to improve the productivity of these saline or alkaline soils. In the case of acid soils also, it will be remembered that the quality of soil in mulberry field has a profound influence not only on the yield of mulberry leaves, but also on their quality. It will therefore be clear that the quality of soil ultimately affects the growth of the silkworm and the quantity and quality of cocoons produced. Mulberry is a perennial, hardy and deep-rooted plant, can be cultivated on all types of soil. But optimum growth and development and good quality of leaves can only be ensured with soil possessing better physical, chemical and biological properties, which in turn helps to harvest superior quality and quantity of cocoons. Thank you.